And good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7:10 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I think the X crisis has been averted. I actually noticed today that the live stream of my show broadcast was in my profile this morning. So thank you for those in the tech section of X making that work because yes, as a smaller channel, I am trying to build my audience and I want to create a little bit of consistency and a good experience for those that join me so early in the morning to get a good news download. So thank you so much for members of X. And with that, let's get into our kids corner.
In his notebook, hoping it would make him perfect at everything. But one day, Louis forgot to check off his habits and felt like a failure. Louis's mom noticed his frustration and gently sat beside him to talk. She explained, "Tracking is good, but missing a day doesn't mean you're a failure." Together, they decided to only track important habits that truly mattered to him. Louis felt lighter and focused more on enjoying his activities than just tracking them. He learned that tracking was a tool, not a measure of his worth or success. Remember, tracking habits can guide us, but it's okay to take breaks and not be perfect every day.
Yes, take breaks. Because, sometimes you get down like, oh, I didn't do that, I didn't do that. Now, with that said, you don't want to develop bad habits either, right? You don't want to get like, oh, I'll just put it off to Wednesday. You know, make sure you're not being too hard on yourself, but at the same time, just remaining consistent because things do happen. And sometimes you have to put things off to the next day, but really look at, your task as a whole. So if you got 8 things today and 4 things tomorrow, you might be able to take one of the 8 and, you know, shift that over to tomorrow, right? So that you feel a little balanced or, make them a little balanced, maybe 2 or 3 to even it out. So thank you again for joining us and definitely for that kids corner moment. And with that, let's get into honoring God with our body. So God, please, please guard our mind and thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect my ears and help me listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone, and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. And God, please protect our reproductive organs and help us to honor you, God, with purity. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect our feet as we walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. And yes, that is something we do here every morning on Unfiltered Vision News. And I try to do my best to make sure that I remember it. So it is a part of our daily habits, right? You want good habits. And I think that's definitely a good habit. So today we do have a guest that will be joining us in the 8 o'clock hour. So there's some news I want to get to, and someone actually sent me this video. Shout out to Uncle Coolwater. Thank you so much for just scouring social media and finding this video. And it's a very good, how should I say, perception of what happened at the State of the Union and just where it's positioned Democrats with them realizing it or not.
Outsmarted all of his political opponents with this single move.
One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe.
I love that the camera is on this guy because this summarizes the entire dynamic. You see him perk up like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, is this really about to happen? Yes, it is. He's embracing the concept of show, don't tell. At the last State of the Union, they realized this worked really well, so they just fine-tuned it, amped it up. He begins by setting the stage.
because we finally have a president who puts America first. Put America first.
He then introduces a policy change that Congress is not going to be able to engage in insider trading anymore. This forces them to concede.
They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she's here? Doubt it.
Trump then doubles down on show, don't tell by using example after example after example.
Delilah Coleman was only 5 years old in June. Elizabeth Medina was supposed to perform in her town's Christmas parade.
His opponents will claim these are just anecdotes. Yes, but they're anecdotes that could have been prevented. And there's no denying that. These things happened. Their family is there in the room. He already knows they're not going to stand, but he then begins to bait them in just to ensure the outcome.
And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games.
Now the stage is set. He moves in for the kill. I've never seen anything like this in a State of the Union.
One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle.
He's so nervous. He's literally biting his fingernails.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Would anyone deny that, regardless of how you feel about Trump? Rather than pointing out they're not standing up, he's requesting that they stand up to show support for something.
Let me pause that right there. None of them stood up. And that was the point. To really show that they do not care about American citizens. I want you to look at this side of the room. They don't support you. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they do. I don't care how many speeches they give. I don't care how many news conferences they give. I do not care. They are showing who they are. They have told the American people, so we disapprove of this person so much that we are going to stand with illegals. Even if he asks us to be in solidarity. You were in solidarity for no insider trading for Congress. Okay. Because here's my thing. Like, you're going to do it. You can show me better than you can tell me. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? But they all sat there. And I'm so glad the camera just panned over. And this is C-SPAN. And kept panning over. And kept looking like, none of y'all are going to stand up. Like, really, none of you are going to stand up. Now, here's my thing. I know that people are like blue no matter who. We will continue to vote for Democrat no matter what, because we don't like Trump. This is not about Trump. This is about the country. Because he's going to be gone. Okay? He is going to be gone. Do you understand that? He only can be here till the 2028 election. And then somebody else is going to be in. It's going to be somebody else. But understand where the Democrats' ideology stands. They do not care about America, period. And if we keep voting these people into office, the country's going to get worse. And all of the country will, eventually look like Detroit or Los Angeles or New York or Illinois. Is that what you want for the country? Is that what you want for the country? And that's where we're at right now.
Now he waits and lets it sink in. It's difficult to believe that half of the government could be so stupid to allow themselves to fall into this trap. A lot of thought went into how to phrase the wording of this. It was designed to trap them, and it did. It was worded perfectly. I mean, just look how long this went on for. I wish the cameras had focused on their faces more. We get a few examples here, and you could just imagine the people at home and how they're feeling looking at their screens.
Yeah, they would rather support illegals.
And they're just like, crap, there's no way out of this. It's almost like he's thinking, well, you kind of have to respect it. It was so well done.
And that's that's a former military, that's a veteran right there. Who would rather
All they can do is
support
wait for
illegals.
it to be over.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up.
Now the stage is set. Now he proposes the Save America Act.
You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens, in many cases drug lords,
And Ilhan Omar is pissed.
murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act.
Then he moves to voter ID, and this is the final nail in the coffin.
All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote.
The first principles have been laid out, and now it becomes even more clear when he introduces the concept of voter ID and that they won't allow voter ID to occur.
And no more crooked mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. None.
That's why he timed this perfectly. He brought this one in right when the eyeballs are on this the most.
And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually.
He points out the hypocrisy. Well, Mondami, in New York to shovel snow, you need voter ID. That was his requirement, therefore, logically, he knows it's necessary.
Wants him to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a social security card.
But not when it comes to voting. And there's no counter to this, and that is checkmate.
Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good.
And when you see something like this, it does cause you to question the validity and fairness of the process itself. This is pretty damning evidence. He set the stage, he created the perfect spectacle, and then hammers it home.
And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens.
If you disagree, fine, let me know. Where am I wrong about this?
And the reason they don't want to do it, why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason.
Trying to look at this objectively through the lens of optics. This is going to have an impact.
They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat, they have cheated, and their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat.
Overall, it was a very good speech. This is the part that was most important.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that Uncle Coolwater sent me that, because I was like, I really appreciate the commentary and also how he just isolated that particular moment to say, okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Oh my goodness, there's so many comments in the comments section. So Uncle Coolwater says, good morning. That is good info. Richard had a question. Is this one of them? I don't understand that question. Okay. He goes, Trump was already rich. He's trying to cut off their lifeline to funds. They mad. Okay. Do do not recommend this channel. Okay, that's fine, Richard. You can not recommend my channel. That's totally fine. I'm from Chicago, moved 12 years ago, sad. They're all brainwashed. It is really sad because there was a point in time where you can go back and they've been put out compilation videos where Democrats were very strong on the border. Hillary Clinton, Obama, even when Obama ran. I mean, he's called the deporter in chief because he actually was one of the first presidents, to my knowledge, and still holds the record of mass deportations in upwards of 3 million individuals over his 8-year term. So what are we talking about? They talked about how having illegals over here would mess up the job market. They talked about how no, people should not be over here illegally. That is a violation of our law. These were Democrats, and this was not that long ago. Okay, this was only what is 2026, 14 years ago. This was not that long ago, is all I'm saying. And so for right now to see the pendulum swing in such a way where it's like, okay, we don't like the person in the seat this much, we will destroy the country. There's no logic in that because, again, this person is going to be gone. So you're going to destroy the country for one person, and look, and you're going to destroy the lives of the American people on top of it while demanding the vote of the American people. Like, a lot of it just doesn't make sense. And Petronary says they didn't stand because they cannot stand Trump, right? And his corrupt administration. It is about Trump. Democrats love America and hate what Trump is doing to the country and citizens, but they're doing it to the country and citizens. He's deporting people. They want people to stay here illegally. Like, come on. Come on. He's not supporting sanctuary cities. Democrats are. For example, New York. Mandani, he's putting aside $1.2 billion for illegals, and he said that. For undocumented people. Those are people here illegally that he set aside $1.2 billion for. He's not setting aside $1.2 billion for Americans. He's not even setting aside $1.2 million for illegals because he doesn't like Trump. He says they get along great. What are we talking about? I mean, that one doesn't make sense. And said, how can you be proud of what he's done to America? What I can be proud of is the borders are closed because that's what I voted for. That's what I voted for. I voted for closed borders. I voted for mass deportations. Okay. And I voted for reform. And what I mean by reform is I want Congress to stop enriching themselves off the backs of the American people. They need to put forth this legislation that will not allow them to do insider trading. That's what I voted for. Okay. And even more than that, I want a better economy. But it's very difficult to have a better economy when you have people in sanctuary states and cities that still want to support people here illegally. Okay? It is very difficult when you have a Congress that wants to support people being here illegally. That's a problem. The president can only do so much, but what he has done so far, I'm okay with. Because again, I want people deported. I want them off the soil. Damage Inc. says, God bless America. God bless MAGA. God, Trump. Okay, Trump equals Nazis. Yeah, so sad. God bless America. MAGA. Trumpstein. He's going to be known for that. I mean, he's got to figure that one out. And Uncle Coldwater says he slammed them. And Fotnek says, imagine this kid being your kid. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. Thank you, President Trump. Damaging says, it was a great State of the Union. Okay, and then I got a funny face. Okay, and Michael Lang says, yes, it was a great one. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. Thank the Orange Man for the illegal tariffs. Okay. I don't have a what do you say? A moderator. So I have to kind of stop and be the moderator. And this says they will take the money from the tariffs, though. Obama was the BSer in chief. Okay. And it says more opportunities for us, more available housing, making it affordable for us normal citizens to invest, to own property. It's amazing time for us. Democrats hitched their cart to the wrong horses. Um, Guy C80 says Democrats are looking for immigrants votes and they aren't voting for Democrats. Yeah, that's actually happening. There were a lot of people here that I should say that were legal immigrants that voted for Trump, right? And the illegal ones, they're not supposed to vote, right? That's what we keep being told. But I'm telling you, Georgia is going to be a bellwether. And when they start really taking the lid off of a lot of these other elections that are happening in other states, including Texas, yes, the great state of Texas, they're going to find that people that are not documented are voting in elections. So, we need to make sure that that's not happening because it is a privilege. It is not a right to vote in this country. And you need to be a citizen and respect that. And for a lot of the individuals that have taken the time, paid the money, did the classes, everything that they needed to do to become a U.S. citizen, it is a slap in their face to desecrate, especially the vote that they've worked so hard for to be able to participate in, to really just kind of poo-poo on it and let people that are here illegally vote in that. So Democrats have always bamboozled the people. Obama did nothing for the black community. He only made progress for the devil's agenda, LGBT. I cannot disagree with you on that. He did that. Defense of Marriage Act was definitely the start to that. I guess you agree with DJT. I agree with him on the border. I agree with him on no insider trading, right? I agree with him that we need to save this country. I like the SAVE Act, okay? Because very simply put, for anybody who's an American citizen, we have a birth certificate, we have a driver's license or ID, whether it's a real ID or not, right? And we can prove that we're American citizens based on our birth certificate. So we don't need any extra paperwork. We really don't. I'm serious. Like if you came with your social security card, birth certificate, driver's license, you're done. Maybe they might want a piece of mail for proof of address. We're good. We're good. But it's those who are not naturalized. And Damage Inc. says, girl, I'm snubbing. I've never came across your stream, but I'm happy I found you. You don't have to like Trump, but look at this policy support. Yeah, that's where I'm on. Because Trump's going to be gone. And here's the deal. We're going to have to live with the policies that are left behind. And that's what I don't think people understand. That's why I'm like, people ask me all the time, are you a Trump supporter? No, I'm not a Trump supporter. I like some of the policies that have been put forth. I do. But there are some policies I'm kind of like, this is not working for me. Right? Like some of the things with Stargate. I'm just kind of like, I'm not really down with the tech bros like Peter Thiel running around talking about how he wants to deal with the Antichrist. And this is a sodomite in a long-term relationship with another man. Okay. Just saying. Running around talking about the Antichrist. Like, it's really crazy. But that's happening. I don't agree with any of that. But there are some common sense policies that I do agree on and some things that I do like. Trump is a human being that will come and go. But what he leaves behind is what's going to affect our lives. And that's where it comes to us as the American people making demands on our politicians. Hey, you need to codify this. You need to throw this away. That's it. Again, the president comes and goes. There's a channel that tracks politicians, trades, and loads of them sit on panels. They give them insider info. No swamp draining as of yet. Yeah, I can't. I hate to say it. The swamp has not been drained yet because every time it's like a hydra. Every time he cuts one of the heads off, another one grows back. There's some things that I'm going to be researching, looking into to bring you guys regarding the FDA. Now, I know the FDA falls under HHS, but they've been doing some things that are contrary to what RFK has been putting forward, and I need to find out what's going on. You know, a lot of the things that are being pushed back into place were things that RFK came in and just denounced. So he has a war going on right within his purview of the people that he's over. So yeah, there's a war going on, guys. It is really crazy. And Uncle Coolwater says, so I guess people are just going to overlook the part where the Democrats said, to hell with America, we support immigrants only. I guess so. I guess people are just kind of brushing over this. Really crazy. That was a great analogy. A hydra. You were great. Thank you. Yeah, it's sad. And that's what's happening in our country every single time you take something, you think, okay, cool, we got to win. We did this. We got this done. You turn around, you're like, I just cleaned up this mess. Like, what? What are we doing? And where did you come from? Like Lutnick, he needs to be fired and investigated and arrested for what he knew and when he knew it. He actually baited Trump into putting forth the tariffs, the initial ones that he did. And his family, his sons, through his organization that he's the CEO of, which to my knowledge, he hasn't stepped down from. Imagine that. They bet against America because they knew the tariffs would fail. They made billions of dollars. This man needs to be fired, investigated, along with the members of his family. But you know what? It won't happen because people in government enrich themselves. They do. They get in here and they enrich themselves. And it is up to us, the American people, to continue to push and say, you need to get out of office. Pant Bondi, I need you to do your job. Either we start investigating people for the wrong things that they're doing, or we know you're complicit. And that's it. There's no other way around this. Either you're going to do your job or you're complicit. So with that, thank you guys for bringing up the tariffs, because I actually wanted to go over this today and just really take a purview, because everybody has a different stance on what tariffs look like. And I really wanted to take a little bit of a deeper dive. I hope that's better. I'll make it a little bit bigger on screen. So tariffs are simply taxes that a government places on goods imported from other countries. So that's what a tariff is. A lot of people know that. Some people don't. So what are they? A tariff is an extra fee, usually a percentage of the item's value, added to imported products when they enter a country. So for example, a 10% tariff on $100 imported phone means an extra $10 tax. So instead of that phone being, let's say $105, let's just say that the tariff's 5%. It's 110. Straight up. Now, who pays the tariff directly? The importer. Usually a company in the importing country pays the tax to their own government's customs authority at the border or port. What usually happens next? The importer often passes most or all of that extra cost on by raising the price they charge retailers or customers. So consumers in the importing country typically end up paying higher prices for those imported goods for the products made with imported parts and materials. Main reasons governments use tariffs. Now, I want people to understand, before the 16th Amendment, now I went over this months ago with the 16th Amendment. The 16th Amendment is actually what put in income tax on people. Yeah. Woodrow Wilson. You got to thank the man. He actually put in an amendment, ratified the Constitution so that our government, our own federal government, could tax us. Okay. And it should be, and a lot of people say, well, taxes are illegal. Well, it's in the 16th Amendment. You got to go read it. And it should be removed from our Constitution, and taxes should be illegal because our government should not be living off of the backs of the people, which they are doing. But see, before that amendment was put in place, tariffs were actually used as a funding source for America. It actually was. Now, main reasons governments use tariffs: protect domestic industries, make foreign goods more expensive so people are more likely to buy locally made versions instead. So if they're making socks in China and we're making socks here in America and there's a tariff put on the socks in China, and they still might be a little bit cheaper than the socks in America, let's just say about 50 cents. Is it better to buy the socks here? Yeah, it is better to buy the socks here, because there's still going to be an extra fee attached to this, and you're helping another country as opposed to your own. And that's why a lot of people say buy domestic, buy here, buy here. But sometimes we don't know if we're buying here or not, because some things can be mislabeled. I'm just saying. So raise government revenue. The money collected from the tariff goes to the government, which is ours. Negotiating tool or punishment: pressure other countries to change trade policies, stop dumping cheap goods, etc. And this is what Trump was doing with the initial tariffs that he put in place. And like he said, he goes, I couldn't charge them, but I could destroy their countries by doing embargoes. I could refuse their goods. I could do all of these things, but I could not negotiate and charge. Now, foreign company sells a widget. It's an example, to the U.S. for $50. U.S. puts a 20% tariff. The importer pays $10 to U.S. Customs. Okay, so Customs is our government. The importer might now sell the widget to stores for $65 to $70 to cover their cost plus profit. That's the cost of them making the good, and then the profit that they want to make over so they can continue to make products so they're not at a loss. The store pass it on. You pay more at checkout. Yeah. And so a lot of people were complaining about the tariffs because they're like, it's going to raise everything, which it did. But what Trump was trying to do is he was trying to say, hey, we're charging you this tariff. We don't want these cheap goods and services here. We do want people to buy more American products. So in a way, he was trying to make them pay more and build up our country to kind of divert people to start buying U.S. products. He didn't say that. That's just my tinfoil hat. And so I'll take it there. Now, in short, tariffs make imported stuff costlier inside the country. They tend to help local producers and the government budget, but raise prices for buyers and can sometimes lead to retaliation from other countries. Okay. And said, I just get asked for a brief summary on the tariffs President Trump initially used and the Supreme Court really struck down, and a brief summary of Section 122 tariffs of 1974 that President Trump wants to implement. So in early 25, he's using the IEEPA, which is the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, to address two issues: the influx of illegal drugs, right? And large and persistent U.S. trade deficits, which he argued were hollowing out manufacturing and undermining supply chains. So the IEEP authority to regulate importation during these declared emergencies, he imposed sweeping tariffs via executive orders. So the drug-related tariffs, 25% on most imports from Canada and Mexico, 10% most from China. Trade deficit tariffs, at least 10% on imports from all trading partners, with higher rates on dozens of nations. These were broad, open-ended, and applied globally or to major partners, collecting billions in revenue. So on the 20th of this month, which was last Friday, the Supreme Court ruled in a 6-3 Learning Resources Inc. versus Trump. The IEEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. The majority led by Chief Justice Roberts, held that tariffs are a form of taxation, a congressional power under Article 1, and IEEPA's language regulate importation does not delegate this taxing authority explicitly enough, especially for unbounded revenue raising duties, which are the tariffs, right? The ruling invalidated these IEEPA-based tariffs, but left other Trump tariffs under Section 232 or 301 intact. So he is using different levers and measures. And I want to say his thoughts are in the right place to save our country, but we're still suffering under it. So we need something figured out where tariffs are charged, but the consumer cannot be overcharged. I hope you guys are following me on that. So a brief summary of the 122 tariffs from the 1974 Trade Act that President Trump wants to implement have begun. So Section 122 of the Trade Act 1974 allows the president to impose temporary import surcharges or quotas of up to 15% ad valorem for a maximum of 150 days unless Congress extends them. So this is a situation where he can say, okay, we're going to use this for 150 days, kind of roughly 6 months, right? A little bit less than 6 months, but implement them. But again, from where we are right now, is this going to do well for the American people or not? Like I said, I know his intentions are to make more money for the American people, but the American people are suffering under it, So there's got to be a balance, and I'm really hoping that they have at least taken a step back from this debacle, and it is a debacle that has happened, to really rein it in and do what's right by the American people. So enacted in response to 1970 economic crisis, like Nixon's 1971 import surcharge, it's designed for short-term macroeconomic stabilization of international payment imbalances, not long-term protectionism. So after the Supreme Court's ruling, Trump quickly invoked Section 122. He proclaimed a temporary 10% global import duty on most articles entering the U.S. with exemptions for critical items like certain minerals, energy, pharmaceuticals, agricultural vehicles, and aerospace products. And those are exempt, okay, from this. So that would leave, I guess, like clothing, some of those retail items. I'm thinking lumber, aluminum, steel, certain things like that, right? But again, what it is supposed to do, it's supposed to encourage you to buy U.S. when it comes to those products, because those products aren't being charged that extra tax. So again, those extra products might look a little bit higher, but if those other people have already paid that money, right? Retailers trying to pass it along to you, and they're making it just slightly cheaper than what's U.S. made, still buy U.S. made. Don't buy the other product, because they're going to owe us in the end. And what happens to products that sit around too long? They end up on the clearance shelf because you got to get rid of them. Or they end up in somewhere, Big Lots is kind of revamped themselves and they're open in certain places, or you might find them at the Dollar Tree, or you know what I'm saying? So that's the motivation with some of this stuff. So the justification cited large trade deficits, negative income flows, and deteriorating U.S. international investment position. Critics argue this stretches the law, trade deficits, and unequal full balance of payments crises. And legal challenges are possible, but it's a narrow time limited tool compared to IEEPA. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I said, will this increase the cost of goods for Americans? Because that's what everybody wants to know. And the answer is yes. The Section 122 tariffs, currently at 10%, with plans to raise to the 15% maximum that took effect on February 24th, are expected to increase the cost of many goods for Americans. And here's an example of the breakdown from sources like Yale Budget Lab, Tax Foundation, and others. How the process works: these are import surcharges paid by U.S. importers who typically pass most or all of the costs forward through higher prices to retailers and ultimately consumers. This is consistent with historical evidence of tariffs. Nearly 90% pass through to U.S. buyers in recent cases. So, estimated impact short term, assuming full pass through, consumer prices overall could raise by about 0.5 to 0.6% if the tariffs expire after 150 days around July 2026, or 0.8 to 1% if extended, made, or more permanent. For the average U.S. household, this translates to an extra cost equivalent to $600 to $800, or up to $1,000 to $1,300 if extended in 2025 dollars. Okay. The Tax Foundation estimates the Section 122 portion alone adds $200 to $600 per household in 2026. So that means, yes, we're paying more. It is what it is, and unfortunately. So these are averages. Impacts hit harder on imported consumer goods, electronics, clothing, certain durables, not fully exempted. Like I said, you just have to bargain shop now. But even if you do, it's still not balancing out because wages have not kept up with the cost of living. And that's a whole different conversation. But things like this, again, I know what he's trying to do, but the American people are suffering behind it. There's got to be a better way. There really has to be a better way. And he wants to use the tariffs to build up the country, but it's not. There aren't people out there who really care about the American consumer. They care about at the end of the day, their bottom line. That's what it is. So exemptions soften some effects, temporary nature matters, and then there's other factors. So in short, yes, most economists and analysts agree this will raise costs for American consumers on affected imports, though the scale is smaller and more temporary than the struck down IEEPA tariffs. The administration argues it protects jobs and reshoring long-term, potentially offsetting some costs via domestic production growth. But short-term evidence points to higher prices for buyers. So he is trying to get jobs to come back over here. So importers say it'd be cheaper for me to actually have, my business in the U.S. and have people, buy my products directly in the U.S. than this, tariff. I think that's what he's probably trying to fight for. That's just like I said, that's just my assumption. So I'll say allegedly. And so what could be done to help save money for the American people, to help save money for the American people amid the tariffs and broader price pressures? Here are practical steps at both the personal household level and potential policy government level ideas being discussed or proposed in 26. So personal finance strategies: buy American made or local products, shop smarter and hunt for deals, prioritize essentials and cut non-essentials, boost savings and emergency funds first, rethink debt and big expenses. Right now, at the policy government level, here's ideas to help consumers: tariff rebates or dividend checks. There's been those proposals. He's talked about that, right? Extend or expand tax reliefs. He's also talked about this: targeted exemption or adjustments. Okay, the current tariffs already exempt key items. Other affordability measures, ideas like capping credit card interest rates. He's talked about that, having the credit card companies lower the interest rate from like 29% where they're at right now to 10%. That's major. That's life-changing for some people. And that should be done. But guess what? The credit card companies are fighting against that. And that's in that credit card competition bill that I was talking about earlier. Oh, let's see, late last week, earlier this week. Now, refund process for prior tariffs. After the Supreme Court struck down IEEPA paid tariffs, some states' governors pushed for refunds on already paid duties, potentially returning money to businesses, consumers through complex and slow. Yeah, it'll be a long time to unwind that. Good luck with that. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. So, in the administration's view, tariffs ultimately lower costs via more U.S. jobs, manufacturing, and wages. But most economics see short-term price increases for consumers, with benefits taking years. Yeah, this is long-term ouch. That's all I can say. It is a long-term ouch. And we're going to be dealing with this for a long time. And like I said, it's that thing. Because initially I was like, okay, we can do some tariffs as long as we do them smart, you know. And I'm like, oh man, one of those situations where I wish this would have worked out better for the American people, but it's really not working in our favor. So it's like, okay, let's change course and let's see what else can be done to do right by the American people. Now, with that, I wanted to check out what's happening in Minnesota, because right now there are individuals in the Somali community that actually, y'all, they want damages. They want, in essence, reparations for what they feel was a heavy hand, we'll just say, by ICE. So let's check this out.
Justice and relief in the wake of Operation Metro Surge.
Of small business owners, not those who make 200,000 and above. We don't make that much amount. We have been suffering since the crisis of ICE. We also demand an immediate help to evictions.
I wouldn't be surprised with having the level of notification that we were supposed to give about our arrival, that things were arranged in that way.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, the people that you're seeing on your screen right now are a group of minority, probably mostly Somali business owners and interests in Minnesota who are demanding that they be paid for lost revenue that occurred during the recent immigration crackdown in Minnesota. They're saying that it's only fair that they be not only paid, but that all evictions be halted, meaning, if you own a home or some rental units, people haven't paid their rent, you shouldn't be able to kick them out, y'all, because of the economic hardships that they underwent during the immigration crackdown. So we're going to take a look at that today, y'all, where they're demanding the reparations. And also your girl, Ilhan Omar, went and visited an ICE facility yesterday, but they pulled an okie doke on her, y'all. There was nobody there for her to see. We're going to take a look at that as well, y'all. This will be a tight, quick video, but highly entertaining. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do, y'all, you know that we are a paralegal school. For all of our YouTube subscribers.
Today, they called for state help to offset their business struggles. They want the state's relief program expanded to offer direct grants to immigrants and Black and brown small business owners, as well as evictions halted immediately.
Businesses are losing customers. Our communities deserve transparency, accountability, and real dialogue. We will continue to raise our voices until our leaders show up and deliver solutions.
We must repair the damage by making sure that this is for our governors, for our state, and for our legislators.
Okay, now please remember that the state of Minnesota is under federal investigation for misappropriation of funds, federal funds, and in specifically for one of the cities that are on spotlight is Minnesota. Now, they are still arresting people for the Feeding Our Future debacle that happened under Amy Bach and Mr. Saeed. Okay, so they're still dealing with that. And that was a $250 million no-no because they took federal funds and They have been prosecuted. People are being brought to justice. But see, they have found more fraudulent crime under that. Everybody remembers Nick Shirley and the Leering Center. Okay, so these people were affected by the outcome of that. Let's just say when the spotlight was brought onto Minnesota, it brought on a lot more. But hey, you know what? Some of these businesses, I remember them saying, we're going to boycott. We're going to shut down our businesses. You shut down your businesses because you were talking about you didn't want to be, invaded by ICE. ICE was not messing with you directly, unless there were people there that had deportation orders. You did this to yourself, and now you want to turn around and act like you need repair. This is laughable. And I'm glad you guys are talking about this. And I'm glad you're saying something, because you know what that means. So for all of these businesses that are coming forward, now you're going to be investigated even further to see where your funds coming from, where they're going. Are you getting any state funds? And if you are you getting them and using them in a proper way? Or is this even more fraud? I'm just saying, you've opened yourself up now to more investigations.
We want to make sure that the existing relief programs fits into our criteria of small business owners, not those who make $200,000 and above. Crisis of ICE. We also demand an immediate help to evictions so families are not pushed to homelessness during the crisis. Our community deserves accountability. Our community deserves safety. We need also justice for those who lost their lives defending the community. ICE out, families in. ICE out, ICE out, small business in. ICE out, small business in. ICE out, justice in. ICE out, justice in. Thank you so much.
The group is also demanding justice for Renee Good, Alex Preddy, and other ICE victims.
So there you see, they want ICE to pay. They want Minnesota to pay. They want somebody to pay, y'all. How much are you going to chip in? How much money are you? Yeah, I'm talking to you, the listener. How much are you going to chip in to help these people whose lives were disrupted by immigration enforcement, y'all? So in the meantime and in between time, while this was happening, your girl, Ilhan Omar, she was getting okey-doked at a local ICE facility. They went in there, y'all, under the auspices of congressional oversight, which they do have the right to do, and which they should do, which I totally support that, y'all. But maybe you want to go on a day where there's actually somebody to see.
Inspection tour of the Whipple Federal Building today by 2 Minnesota congresswomen, and they found absolutely no one being detained for deportation. They were told the last detainee had left just 30 minutes before them, and they suspect it was planned that way.
We've been told that on average, as the search has been drawn down, they are getting about 20 a day detainees that they are picking up. They have not picked up any observers in the last couple of days and held them in this facility. The facility seemed to be clean and orderly. And again, I wouldn't be surprised with having the level of notification that we were supposed to give about our arrival, that things were arranged in that way.
And while there have been reports that ICE has pulled out of Minnesota, it might be that they just pulled out of Minneapolis and St. Paul and are directing their efforts elsewhere. So while the sightings and the reports of ICE and CBP and immigration enforcement in the Twin Cities has dropped, sightings elsewhere in Minnesota have increased. So do y'all think they've pulled a double okie doke? Let's take a look.
Those reports actually have increased since the drawdown. So that is my sense. Again, it's anecdotal from my constituents, but we certainly have not seen the cessation of these activities. And in fact, it very much feels like some have just moved out into the suburbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are being told that they are much more focused, targeted investigations, that the acting ICE director here, the ICE director, said that they are not doing any racial profiling. But the congresswomen say, you know, they've heard that before, and they're still hearing reports from some people that there is incidents that appear to be racial profiling going on, and say that they will look into those reports and hold ICE accountable.
So yeah, y'all, I'd like to get your opinion on this. Do you think that the shop owners should get reparations, y'all? Should they get reparations for lost wages, for lost revenue, for lost opportunity, for anything that they lost during the immigration crackdown? Do you agree with that? And if you do agree, who do you think should pay? Should Minnesota pay? Should the federal government pay? Should there be some kind of combination between both entities? You know that the Somali community in Minnesota, and in particular in the Twin Cities, they are a powerful force to be reckoned with. They are a voting bloc that can swing elections. So I'll be honest, Tim Walz, he's already said that he's going to give up to $10 million in assistance and relief. It looks like they're calling for $200 million. So I would not be surprised if we hear, oh, Timmy boy, say that they're going to offer some additional assistance to this very powerful and important voting bloc in his state. What do y'all think? Drop a comment down below.
Yeah. And now you've got to look at, okay, who comes behind Tim Walz? Are they going to go along with this? You know, I'm going to say Amy Klobuchar, she's currently in Congress. Is she going to go along with this? Just yet to be seen. Yet to be seen. Before our guest comes on, I want to actually share some other articles with you. Now, this one is about Cat Williams. You guys may or may have not heard about this, but he's built a studio in Alabama.
Intelligence is leading the way in the digital age, and one Emmy Award-winning comedian opened a creative playground to give the next generation of industry leaders the tools they need to succeed.
This is a story you'll only see here on WVTM 13. In his exclusive interview with comedian Cat Williams, WVTM 13's Aaron Llewellyn spoke with the studio owner about his partnership with Miles College and lifting HBCU students as they climb.
Tucked away in Anniston is Fort McClellan. Known for its storied history and pivotal role in World War II, it's getting a new lease on life.
I didn't really think that McClellan was like on the radar. I mean, I saw the for sale signs, but I didn't know it was like on a national radar.
For months, there were rumors comedian and actor Cat Williams bought the former Army base to open a production hub.
Mi casa, su casa.
In an exclusive interview, Williams said, the state of Alabama offers the prime location to set up shop for the movie business. He says, artificial intelligence technology could keep expensive work like animation and visual effects local.
We had to go to another foreign country and give them millions of dollars. Instead of that, we have the ability to create all of that using qualified people of colors.
Inspired by the legacy of the Chitlin Circuit, a network of venues across the South that helped launch the iconic careers of James Brown, Aretha Franklin, and B.B. King, Kemet Movie Works is on the verge of opening its doors and making way for a new era of trailblazers to take over the reimagined space.
We've signed an agreement, an MOU, that our students will have the opportunity to participate in learning about AI and AR.
Back in October, Williams and Miles College president Bobby Knight announced a partnership during the college's homecoming. For Knight, opening up the students to a world of possibilities is part of setting them up for success even after graduation, with internship opportunities exclusively for Miles students.
There are a lot of jobs right now that in 5 years won't be in existence because of AR and AI. And we want to make sure that our students are equipped with the tools they need to operate in that world.
Kemet Movie Works is working to be at the forefront of cutting-edge technology, with plans to use AI in small indie films or even major studio projects. The former military base offers 2 fully equipped state-of-the-art sound stages built for virtual production, computer-generated imagery, and immersive sets.
Most of the entities that are in the movie-making business had to fear AI because of what that means. But fortunately, we were able to lean into instead of leaning against. And
Right now, it's unclear how many jobs the studio will bring to the city of Anniston, but Williams says he and his team are doing what some studios are not, creating more opportunities for people in the business.
At the end of the day, it's making for better movies, better production. Everything is just better. So we're able to use it without cutting down the workforce. We're able to do it the other ways.
And that's creating excitement for longtime Anniston residents like Doretha Walker.
You saw what Tyler Perry did in Atlanta, so if we can have anything remotely like that here and bring in jobs just to revitalize the economy would be great.
Walker hopes revitalizing the base will be an investment in Anniston. And Williams says it starts with an opportunity for up-and-coming diverse voices.
In conjunction with Miles College, it just gives us an opportunity to deal with the best and the brightest and to make sure that people that look like us are able to get these opportunities that previously were only available if you went to Hollywood itself.
In Anniston, Aaron Llewellyn, WBTM 13.
According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, Fort McClellan first opened its doors in 1917, serving as a training ground for over 500,000 soldiers until it closed in 1999.
So I'm glad that he is actually repurposing a studio, but not only that, he's revitalizing an entire community. And that actually means better economy for the state at large, right? I mean, this is pretty amazing. And, you know, a lot of people, they kind of brushed that off. He was crazy. He was this, he was that. I was like, wow, all this from a crazy man. But you remember 2024, he said, he goes, so many things are going to be revealed. So many things are going to come to light. And what have we seen since that time? So congratulations, Mr. Williams. I hope everything goes well for you in the state of Alabama. And just remember, it's not about just camera jobs. You know, there's a lot involved in productions that involves accounting, legal, right? You have people that do craft services. That's food. You have people that are also costume mistresses. Just because somebody's standing behind the camera doesn't mean they don't need clothes. They do. You can't artificially, you know, put clothes on somebody. Not yet, at least. They might get there. But for right now, you still need a costume mistress. You still need people that do hair and makeup. So special effects artists. So there are a lot of parts of the industry, and those are just some that I mentioned, that still have viable places. ADR, you know, which happens in post-production, and that's the sound design part of it. Those are still other jobs, you know, and that's still something that can be expanded even on the studio, so they don't have to outsource anything, and it can be right there at the studio, one and done. So again, congratulations, Cat Williams, and we're looking forward to seeing a lot for you. And my guest might be late. He got called into a meeting, so I'm just going to ask him to join as soon as he can. Join as soon as you can. Sorry about the lack of sound on this. He might be able to join soon. And this happens. That's why I always say, we might have somebody, we might not. But that's okay. We can always have him on, you know, next Thursday if he's not able to be on now, because unfortunately I was out of town, and so not on the air. But we do have another video to get into. But before we do, let's take a quick break. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, and we will see you on the other side.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. The energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science. At longevity. At exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Take your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I wanted to share the website with you guys. If you want more information on LifeWave, you can visit lifewave.com/Noni CMS LLC. That's lifewave.com/Noni CMS LLC. And that is how we keep the lights on here. I am a distributor, so it definitely helps, again, to keep the website up, to, make sure that I'm staying on air and visible to you. So the patch it's phototherapy, right? And what it does is it helps to regenerate your cells. So you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to go get cellular injection with somebody else's cells when you can actually have this patch help to revitalize your own stem cells. It's non-invasive, which means it's no medicine. It's just using you to revitalize your own cells. Now, everyone has a different experience. For me, I got the feeling in my back after having a major back surgery. So, do I still have pain here and there? Yes, but I have sensation now and feeling in my back. So, definitely check out lifewave.com/Noni CMS LLC, and you can reach out to me at unfilteredvisionnews@gmail.com if you have any questions. And I also wanted to remind you guys, I do have a website with the long form content. So yes, I do have a YouTube channel, and that will give you a splice of the actual broadcast for the day. But if you want the entire broadcast in its entirety, you can subscribe here. And it is $1.99 a month or $20 for the year for the first 100 individuals that join. And after that, it's $4.99 a month and $50 a year. And there's also merch that you can purchase. There's a album that I produced last year under the group Divine Echo Collective. And it is a full gospel. I wouldn't say gospel, but I would say like contemporary Christian / gospel music. It's very enjoyable and enlightening. So that's another way you can support the channel. And then we also have our faith line that you can purchase to support your channel, and UVN merch, right? Established in 2025. We've got sweatshirts, hats, mugs, and as you can see, we've got some tumblers here with the faith in the faith line and other mugs and sweatshirts. So blankets as well. So if you definitely want to continue to support the channel, that is a way, and that is unfilteredvisionnews.com. So thank you guys for all that you do and all the support you give. And Patty Cake says she graduated from Miles College. That is awesome. Congratulations. So that's really cool. So your school's doing big things, ma'am. They're doing big things with Cat Williams down in Alabama. I know a lot of people, they think about Alabama, it's just like, oh, and there are parts of Alabama, and I am praying for people that things do get better, but it comes back to the politics, right? And so now there is an opportunity for a build up of a community that was probably like kind of left behind. So I'm really grateful for the efforts of Cat Williams and everything that he's doing in that community. So as you can support him, give him your support, because everybody needs it. Now with that, we are going to get into a video by Melanie King. This is some more Epstein information. Now, this one might be a tinfoil hat moment, but this is something that a lot of people were saying. Is Jeffrey Epstein really deceased? is he really no longer with us? So let's just check out this angle.
Is alive. He was swapped out. They swapped him out with Anthony Bourdain's body. I'm just joking, not Anthony Bourdain, but they swapped him out with somebody's body. The reason why I believe that is because of the posts that were appearing on 4chan before the official news broke out. So I don't really give a shit about the files. We already know everything. They're all involved. Even if everything comes out, there's no justice system to act on it. So what are we doing here? So forget about him. On August 10th, around 4:15 a.m., a post appeared saying Epstein was already dead before the news broke out. It claimed hanging and cardiac arrest. Now, how would anybody know that? What the hell? How? Then another post came out with more detail. It said Epstein was taken to medical in a wheelchair. He was front cuffed, and no nurse spoke to him. Then a van showed up. It didn't sign in, and a man in military gear was sitting in the back. And then they swapped him out. They removed Epstein and they replaced him with somebody else. And then at 6:14 a.m., EMS said he flatlined, but the hospital staff said the body was already cold. How? And then you look at Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted of horrific crimes, but she's in a low-security prison. She's doing yoga and shit. She's eating well. They even gave her a puppy. So here's what this teaches people. If you exploit, you rise. If you play fair, you lose. Outcomes matter more than laws. Ruthlessness is rewarded. Consequences are for regular people. We already know justice is dead. The real question we should be asking is, where the f*** is Epstein? Can't believe we're back. Nothing like it.
Where is Epstein? That is the question that many of us have because we don't believe the official narrative that he deleted himself. We have seen over and over, like, none of this story makes any sense. And through the actual Epstein files, we are finding that, yeah, they're actually admitting that he was swapped out, that essentially he's not dead. And I've told you that the DOJ took a video that originated on 4chan, ended up on YouTube. They took that video, put it into their official files on their website, Epstein files. And then when people noticed that this was a fake video from YouTube, well, then they deleted it. So these are the games that we know are being played. And this is why we're questioning everything. But if you don't know, Jeffrey Epstein was deformed down there, and as well as Harvey Weinstein. It seems like these men have a pattern of having a lot of deformities and problems down there. But one of the things we know is that he not only was he described as, it's somewhat similar to Weinstein, where it's described as very short and kind of like round, his situation, and his package, and that it was like kind of deformed. And that's now Harvey Weinstein's is supposed to come from because he had a disease and he had to have surgery, but also looks like Epstein had surgery to have his we'll say balls, okay, I don't know which words I can use. I can say testicles, okay, hopefully, and I don't get flagged, but they were removed. But look at this, and then I have some more to show you. It says he's alive. The corpse they gave over has a prostate, while Epstein had none. The medical examiner who studied Epstein's corpse noted an enlarged prostate, but Epstein's own words and medical records in the released files seem to indicate his prostate was removed. I probably should have used that word, so forgive me, but it just came to mind. Okay, so this is what it says. Bladder that contains approximately 5 milliliters of cloudy yellow urine. The prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged with marked enlargement of the I'm not trying to read that. The testes are unremarkable. Really? The testes are unremarkable. I wouldn't doubt that, but he doesn't have any. So this is a back and forth between some guy named Richard and Epstein. So I'll read kind of like fully what he's saying at the top, not just the highlighted. It says, exactly. And it's not clear what other effects those hormones might be having that aren't replaced by testosterone. And so the advantage to taking testosterone, there are two different things. You can have high testosterone and still have a need for Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right? Correct. From the horse's mouth. And we've seen him admit that he actually traffics children, not young women, not girls, not just women in general, not people, but traffics children to his island. This was in his emails, him admitting that he is this person. This is what he does. He admitted to a friend who was saying that her friend was going to do a documentary about this whole subject. And then he replied, like, imagine her surprise when I told her it was me who was trafficking children to my island. But guys, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to prosecute. We don't need to look any further. Okay. Now, before we go any further, I want to remind you guys about realmelanieking.com, that world order map, which is called censorship.
Ordered something from Gulfstream Aerospace to Plan D LLC in Georgia. Coincidentally, Plan D LLC is a shell company of Jeffrey Epstein's that was primarily used to operate one of Epstein's private jets, specifically his Gulfstream G550. We know from the files that this plane was being stored at a hangar in Cobb County in Georgia, only 3.6 miles and an 11-minute drive to this address. Whatever was ordered cost $22.67 and weighed 0.9 pounds, which fits the cost and weight description of an LED light bulb that's used for a Gulfstream G550 wing. Now, this airport in Cobb County is for private jets only, no commercial flights. And on a full tank of gas, a Gulfstream G550 could go basically anywhere in the world, even directly from Georgia. So, do you still think he's dead?
Now, if you remember, a couple weeks ago, that AI video, what they claim is AI video of Jeffrey Epstein was seen walking around in, I believe, Tel Aviv. I don't think it was Jerusalem. And it was several of these pictures that came out, right? And could they have been AI? Sure. But that doesn't discredit all of the real evidence that we have that he is still very much alive, okay? Allegedly. Now, one of the things that I believe that's happening, and I believe that they're doing, is that even if a real photo comes out, they are going to flood the zone with AI versions of the same thing, watermarked with AI, or making sure that the AI can detect it, just to bury something that's real. So again, you have to use discernment. But if we put together, if it's just one piece of evidence, okay, it can be dismissed. Maybe two pieces, but when you put it all together, you have to take, if you put all of the, if you line it all up, you know, and it forms a perfect picture, a perfect circle of what is really happening. So again, you've got to use discernment. I've got to use discernment to really figure these things out. But leave a comment and let me know, do you think he's still alive? Like I told you, I personally believe that he is. Without a doubt, I believe it.
This is a photo of Jeffrey pulled from the Epstein files. Notice the tribal tattoo on his upper left arm. This is one of the autopsy photos that was given to CBS for a 60 Minutes episode about his death. Notice no tattoo. Hold on. Here's a picture that's been circulating the internet wildly the last couple of days. It's supposedly Jeffrey alive and well in Israel. I have to tell you, that does look like him. The only discernible difference that I see, other than his hair is longer and he has a mustache and a beard, is that his cheeks are sunken in. He never had cheeks that were sunken in, but I think age will probably do that to you, and trauma will probably do that to you. I just find it odd that he's been supposedly dead for several years, and just now, a week after the files were released, he's caught on the street in Israel. The timing's a little too convenient. But then on the other hand, people are really hyper aware of his existence right now, where they probably haven't been as aware over these past several years. And maybe somebody was Jeffrey spotting, like a Where's Waldo kind of thing. Who knows?
Same thing. Leave a comment. Let me know. Make sure you subscribe, not only to this channel, but to my other channel, Melanie. Gosh, I can never think of the other. Melanie Off Script. Like I said, I posted a video recently about the moon. I have another video that I'm going to post today. I'm making sure I post today that is mind blowing, guys. Like mind blowing. You are not going to want to miss this. This is under the radar right now. I kind of question if I wanted to post this video because it's going to give this guy a lot more exposure. I think possibly the military or the government is going to step in and try to take this object from him that he found, but it relates to orbs. Okay, the orbs that I've told you that are around my house every single night when I ask them to come. It's just amazing. And I'm even using Flight Tracker now just to make sure, because I told you I have seen them and other people have seen them transform in kind of like a plane shape and making plane noise. But then I've had that happen, but then I check Flight Tracker, there's no flight at that time. And I've had that happen several times. Sometimes it is a flight, but other times it's not. So I'm working on a video to kind of compare it so you guys can see in real time what's happening. But anyway, again, if you want to support the channel, make sure you go to realmelanieking.com, pick up.
Yeah, and definitely check out her channel. I definitely appreciate the information brought from Melanie King's channel because she goes a little bit deeper than me. I'm more on the political spectrum, just kind of looking at things that are happening politically to keep us focused on where we need to be focused. And with that, let's check out some news from all sides. So there is a report that FBI subpoenaed phone records from Kash Patel and Susie Wiles in 2022 and 2023. Interesting. There's a lot of times when they always say, oh, no, the FBI isn't investigating people. Yes, they are. They're always investigating people. And they can investigate what they want. They can go rogue. They're rogue agencies. All of our intelligence agencies need to be reined in. After they found out about COINTELPRO, in my opinion, they should have been reined in and shut down. We have a military that we can utilize, and they actually have an obligation to do right by the country. Now, are there some people in the military that could be rogue? Absolutely. But there are measures in place to deal with them. Why do we have an extra form of technically a military style of policing that can just do what they want, carte blanche? This is why we're in the mess that we're in, because there are some agencies that exist that just shouldn't. There are some things that we do have in place in our federal government that just should not be there, and they need to be shut down. Now, does Donald Trump have the ability to shut it down? Some things, yes, that are under his purview. He could. Could he shut down the entire, intelligence operation? He could. He actually could. He could stop them. Now, it would take an act of Congress to actually undo them, right? Because they were put in place by Congress. But he could put forth an initiative to say, know what? Our intelligence agencies, they're out of control. They're doing what they want to do. They are not serving the American people. They are actually, committing espionage or whatever the crimes may be. Shut them down. He could do that. But we'll see. So the FBI subpoenaed phone records from now FBI Director Kash Patel and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles when they were both private citizens, according to a new report. Why were they messing with them when they were private citizens? Yeah. So the subpoenas took place in 2023 during the federal probe into whether President Trump had infiltrated the 2020 election. Special counsel Jack Smith was also looking into whether Trump had hidden classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, according to Patel. Reuters said it couldn't verify many of Patel's claims, including the extent and timing of the seizure of phone records and the motive. It also couldn't establish what records were obtained and who approved the subpoenas. According to FBI officials, at least 10 current FBI employees were fired after the revelation of the subpoenas. So for context, under the Biden administration, the Justice Department investigated Trump's role in attempting to overturn the 2020 election. Authorities had issued subpoenas and sought testimony from individuals close to Trump at the time, which is standard for investigations like this. Now, Trump was charged with multiple felonies as a result of the investigation. After he won a second presidential term, Smith dropped the charges, citing Justice Department policy against prosecuting a sitting president. Patel and Wiles were both Trump's political allies during this time, with Wiles becoming his co-campaign manager in 2024. Now, this is how the media covered it. Reuters said Patel portrayed the actions and efforts to conceal them as an example of overreach by unelected government officials, which is said which it said is a theme often repeated by Trump. Mhm. CNN on the left focused on Patel's response to the revelation of the subpoenas. It said the ouster of FBI employees is the latest in a series of Patel pushing out agents and other employees who investigated the Capitol riot. The New York Post, that leans right, highlighted in FBI officials' comments that the action was part of a massive targeting operation by the Biden administration. It also reported that burn bags related to Trump alleged connections to Russia in 2016 were also discovered by the FBI last year, suggesting they were to be destroyed under Biden. Why were you burning evidentiary material that could have been used by Jack Smith under the Biden administration? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Again, our intelligence agencies are very rogue. They need to be reined in, and something needs to be done. Now, will it take an act of Congress, like I said, to actually undo these agencies? Yes, because they were pretty much put in place between presidents at that time. They were in office and Congress actually putting them in place. So they were adopted, right? They're not a part of the Constitution. It always cracks me up when people go, "This is unconstitutional." I was like, "What are you talking about? What part of the Constitution are you talking about?" So, oh, I see that our guest is joining us. I'm so excited to have someone on for Mighty Men Thursday because it's been a while since we've had a guest. I know, like I said, I've been doing a lot of traveling back and forth. And also, when somebody in the comments says, "I don't believe he's dead," there's a lot of people that don't believe that Epstein has passed away. But then again, these are, I should say, unfortunately, the political games that are played with the American people. And it's time for us to really get honesty from our government. Will we ever get it? Will we ever see it? We can if we put the right people in office. And with that, I'm going to go into our Mighty Men Thursday segment. And thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News. And this is our Mighty Men Thursday segment. And we have a very special guest. So let me bring them here on stage. Good morning. How are you? Can you hear me?
How you doing, Dr. Nicole? It's a pleasure to be here.
Good.
You can hear
Good.
me?
Yes, I can hear you well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Could you please introduce yourself? Let us know where we can follow you and also what you're doing in the community. And then we will get into a subject of your choice.
Okay, my name is Simeon Nunnally. I'm candidate for Congress for the 13th District on the Republican side of the ballot. You can follow me. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. Follow me on the little social media apps. I try to stay pretty connected to the community.
Now, is there a
And I'm
website
always,
where we can find your different social media handles?
I had a website, and then I had a situation with the website designer.
Okay.
He didn't want to give us over all of the access. He wanted to stay control of it, which was pretty crazy. But nevertheless, we're actually putting together another website currently as we speak. So
Okay.
yeah,
And what's your
it
handle for
happens.
Facebook?
That was my name, Simeon Nunnally.
Okay,
Right.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Google
I'll
doing a
make
good job of keeping all of that together lately.
Okay, good. I'll make sure to repost your social media handles when we repost this segment of the program so that way people can follow you and support your campaign. So congratulations on running for federal House seat in the
Thank
13th
you.
district. So let us know a little bit more about your campaign.
Oh, well, our campaign is pretty aggressive. I run a pretty aggressive campaign. Everything that we're currently doing is very aggressive. We deal with international relationships, international investments. We also deal with suing companies that's dumping the PFAS chemical into the citizens' water. We're dealing with scenarios revolving around the grotesque activities that's transpiring into the prison systems. We're also dealing with pharmaceutical medication, actually lowering the prices of those. We're dealing with 300,000 women that are currently missing in the nation, protecting the women and fighting against human trafficking. We're also dealing with, because we deal with international trade, we're dealing with the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa alliance, and how that's actually plaguing the pockets of the citizens. So we deal with the big issues that actually really matter to the citizens, not those scenarios that's okay, let's legalize sex workers, right? That you hear coming from the Democrats. See, those things are silly in nature. It's absolutely silly. But we deal with the big, big things that impact the citizens, and eventually we'll roll over to figuring out a way to lower the prices of rent. That's actually being controlled by the major corporations, BlackRock, Vanguard, Core Civic. They are a significant landowner. So those scenarios actually transpire around them, revolve around them, and how we can push forward legislation to tell them that they need to loosen their grip off of the everyday citizen. Right now, we're dealing with significant prices of commodities. Gold is at $165,000 per kg, which is increasing the prices of all your electronics and increasing the prices of all of your medications. I mean, not medications, your doctor's visit, because a lot of your appliances that they're using at the hospital have gold in it. Anything that has gold in it's going through the roof right now. And my citizens, they can't afford it. They can't afford it. So with that being said, we're trying to figure out a way to lower these prices and put an easement. When government disagree, the citizens shouldn't suffer because two monarchs are disagreeing, right? We shouldn't get mad at government. Shouldn't get mad at government. Say, well, we're going to we're going to attack your people. We're going to attack your citizens, right? We're going to raise their prices. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. That should never even be a conversation piece. The diplomats, in my opinion, should do. We need to rely more on the diplomats and allow the diplomats to ease those tensions between governments, because that's what they're there for, right?
Right, exactly.
A lot of times politicians have a tendency to disagree, and the diplomat should step in and ease that. Apologies about my my elongated introduction.
It's okay. It's okay because people really do need to get to know you because, I have viewers from literally all over the world. And so you never know who's listening, who's
Okay.
watching, and who may be able to, give you support for your campaign and agree with what's happening. Now, a few things are happening that I do want to ask you questions on. So if you are elected to this position, what do you think about the tariffs and what should be done? Because that is a big topic of discussion. A lot of people don't understand it. I broke it down on my show earlier before you came on, but really wanting to get your purview on that because being a representative of the House, you would actually be an arm that would look into how this could help or hurt the American people.
That's perfect. I don't know if you was there when I said that our campaign is pushing something called sanction reform, right? Now, sanction reform is actually allowing countries to opt in to a compliance relief program where we're stating that we're not removing the ability for the executive branch to initiate sanctions and tariffs, but what we are providing is a 99 years of sanction-free trade and tariff-free trade for countries that are in compliance with our objectives as an American country to trade with them, right? So sanctions and tariffs are normally only imposed on countries that are not within agreement to things. Like we find out that they're doing child labor, right, or
Right.
some type of war, right, that's actually plaguing the citizens in their country. So then, boom, they come with these sanctions, right? So sanction reform is saying as long as you're within these compliances regulations, automatically 99 years sanction-free trade, right? So that is what we're proposing. That's another reason, obviously, that we're seeing some type of increase in prices, but nevertheless, sanctions. Okay, so a long time ago, two companies came together with the countries and they signed a deal saying that they would sell cotton for 99 cents, right? So the country China, for example, purchased cotton now 99 cents. This is just for an example. This is a preliminary. Right. So they purchased cotton from us for 99 cents. They turned around and they created Ralph Lauren shirts, and they started selling Ralph Lauren shirts at $100 per shirt, right? So they made a significant, like 1,000% increase. And we started saying, hey, we would like a piece of that $1,000, right? And country said, no, we purchased it from you for 99 cents. We want to sell it back to your citizens for $1,000, right? So the government said, okay, so this is what we're going to do. Another reason sanctions come in place is so we can offset the fact that they're making $1,000 per shirt off of our citizens when we're only making a 99 cent. They're taking a significant amount of money. So another reason that sanctions are in place is to offset how much they're making, right? And give us a piece of that $1,000, which is why you heard your president saying that he's going to give the citizens $2,000 a person, or the $1,776 that he gave to the military as a way to pay back the citizens, as well as to try to find a way to get the citizens off of state income tax and federal and some of the income tax. Because a long time ago, what citizens don't know is a long time ago, well, not citizens, a lot of personnel don't know. A long time ago, we didn't have income tax. It was the tariffs that we was utilizing that actually offset those income taxes. Income taxes is really within this current era, right? This current decade.
Yeah, they were put forth by Woodrow Wilson under the 16th Amendment. Yeah. It's that horrible.
Precisely.
Horrible
so we actually are good. It was actually pretty substantial prior to that amendment. But nevertheless, it's a lot of reasons why sanctions and tariffs come in place. It's not just one reason. It's not just, oh, we're mad at you, so we're going to put this tariff. No, it's a lot of reasons, right? So it can help. It's one of those things, if you utilize it the correct way, it can help versus always damaging the average citizen. But again, another apology for that elongated explanation, but we are pushing for 99 years of sanction-free trade.
Okay, so you're sanction-free. Now, and then we'll just say hypothetically, had President Trump used the sanction method under the IEE, I think it's IEEPA, hopefully I got that acronym correct, but had he used the sanction directive, which he was actually allowed to do, would we be in a better position now, right, as opposed to how he did implement the tariffs? In your opinion?
That's in my opinion, that's on his administration, what the administration calls, right? And what they were looking at that moment in time. So I really couldn't say it was a good call or it was a bad call, because we don't know all of the variables that was surrounding that decision, right?
Right.
And that's just from the outside looking in. He probably saw variable A being utilized as a way to bring China back to the table, as you heard him say. He said, well, a lot of personnel had an issue with these tariffs and with these sanctions, but look, we got China back at the table, and we're negotiating with China on lowering some of these prices, bringing in some of these companies. So whatever his whatever his goal was at that moment in time, if he was successful in doing what he needed to do, then it was a good call, right? So we don't really know. I don't know. I can't give you that answer. But I do know that our campaign, we push for House Resolution 1252, where we're trying to bring in $123.74 billion back to the state of Georgia and get a lot of our companies that are part of the BRICS to come back to the nation and trade here with trade more domestically and lower the prices of our commodities, right? And if the state of California passed it, it will be $900 billion that they bring back in. The state of Texas will bring back over $800 billion back to the nation. So, like I said, in our campaign, we're trying to assist the executive branch and other members of Congress and other members of the Senate, so we could actually offset the current price hike that you're seeing that's plaguing the citizens.
Great, because that's what people really want. They want individuals like you in office to really help us, because right now, and this is just my opinion, and this is just what I've seen since I've gotten into this political realm, everybody wants to be a superstar, right? Everybody wants to be seen. They want their 15 minutes of fame. They want that sound bite, but nobody really wants to do the work in Congress, right? They want the prestige, right? But they really don't want to do the work for the American people, because at the end of the day, when you look at the actual legislative record of a lot of these individuals that use a lot of hubris when they are outside, there's nothing of substance that they've actually done for the American people. So with that said, immigration is a very hot topic, right? And it does fall back on the House and the Senate to pass comprehensive legislation. So I wanted to get your view on the SAVE Act. Where would you stand on that? Because, technically, if you were elected, you could be a member of the House that would actually have to vote on this.
Okay, so full transparency, what I've been really focusing on with the immigration. So I have been working with a lot of the consul generals. I was working with the diplomats for quite some time, for the past 4 years, right? Prior to actually announcing my bid for office, right? So I do have a lot of friends in the international community, right? So when we talk about immigration, a lot of them, they said they're afraid of ICE and things of that manner, deportation. And I'm trying to get them to understand that nobody is saying they want to get rid of citizens that came into the country legally, right?
Right, exactly.
If I was to go to any other country, like I was having a conversation with a friend of mine from Nigeria, who actually works in the company that we own. I told her, I said, if I was to go to Nigeria right now with a one-way ticket and without a visa, with a visa, and I overstayed my visa, what would happen to me, right? What would happen? And my friend said, they'll take care of that. The government will take care of that, because you can't be in the country without proper documentation, right? You see?
Right.
So
They're immediate with, they're like, oh no, you'd be immediately taken care of. What?
Can't do that. Right. So if I was to go to Mexico right now with a one-way ticket and a visa, and I wanted to overstay my visa, what would happen? If I was to go to any country with a one-way ticket and a visa, what would happen to me, right? As an American citizen with money spending in that country and our currencies is where is that? What would happen? And they would say, and they all say, oh, you can't do that. And so why do you expect us to do the same thing?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You see, like once you put it in the perspective of I cannot go do it there. Why do you expect us to say, well, if I can't do it over there, then you're more than welcome to do it here. That doesn't make
It
any
makes
sense.
no sense. None.
That doesn't make
None
any
at all.
sense. Like I cannot go to Dubai right now. I cannot get on a plane, fly to Dubai, and when you go to Dubai, they give you a visa on arrival. So I can't go to Dubai, right? And with my passport and say, I'm gonna be here for 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 I think I like it here.
It's laughable. It is
It's a
laughable
pretty
because
cool
they'd be
country.
like, okay, first of all, you're not leaving the airport. We're going to sequester and arrest you.
I'm not.
And now we're going to send you right back.
I'm forget not leaving the airport. I'm not leaving the country. What do you
Country.
mean?
Right. You're done.
I'm here forever. I'm paying taxes though, right? So it's apologies for laughing, but I can't go anywhere without. I can't even move to a different state in America without proper paperwork. When I go to a different state, I got to get a driver's license in that state, right? It's paperwork I got to get. So you can't.
It is laughable and it's sad. It's so sad because people go, it's racist. It's this, it's that. It's like, no, it really
it's
isn't.
law around the world.
Right.
That is global law.
Yes.
They're going to kick me out of the country, I'm telling you.
Look, he got tickled on that one, y'all.
I mean, I was messing with the Democrats. I told the Democrats that a lot of things that they do doesn't make any sense, right? I was poking fun at them because if you saw the State of the Union, you heard what President Trump stated. He said no state should be able to rip their child away from them and then start doing he said, and then start programming that child to transition their gender without the parents' consent, right? And the Republicans stood up and started laughing. I mean, start clapping. And President Trump looked at the Democrats and he told the Democrats, he's like, y'all are crazy because they were just very upset. They was looking at him mad. Right?
It's like, so you agree with other people taking your child and transitioning them and then telling your child you don't have to tell your parents anything, and yet still the parents have to be responsible for this child even though they have no idea what's going on with their kid. It's crazy, but support that.
That's what they support. That's what they support. That's what they support. And I told them, I said, a lot of times the Democrat voters, they really don't know what their leadership is pushing, right?
Yes.
They have no idea. They just come and say, oh, freedom for all, freedom for all. But it's not freedom for all. It's a force. We are forcing your child into doing this, right?
Yeah.
We are brainwashing your child into doing this, right? Yeah. You see, we are taking them and then we're programming them and then telling them that is okay. You should be loved anyway.
Right.
Or
they punish the children that don't want to go along with this. And that's what the parents don't understand. It's like your kid is literally under siege in a lot of these places. And I feel bad for parents now. I mean, I've got a grandson. I pray for him every day that he's not going through anything like this, but it's abuse. And the thing about it is we really haven't taken that step to look at these public schools, right? Private schools, unfortunately, they're doing it too. But what could be done legally, right, with the public schools? In my opinion, there's funding that could be lost. But in my opinion, I think those schools, and there has been successful lawsuits, they need to be sued by these parents, that they've harmed their children. But unfortunately, there are state laws that parents don't realize that actually have been put in place that they can do this to your children.
And full transparency, just like President Trump said, just like the president said, and I'm pretty sure every president around the globe will get behind that message. It's certain things that we shouldn't even look at in legislation. We should really focus on what's best for the country. We should always focus on every president across the globe, right? When it comes to dealing with their citizens, our most highest priority should always be, how do I increase the quality of life for these citizens here, right? How do we bring in capital so they can enjoy their family? so they can have more kids, so they can be prosperous, so they can live the biblical standard, so they can be fruitful and multiply, have grandkids, and be excited about life. That should be our main concern. To sit back here and start passing legislation to say that an institution, whatever institution, should not literally sit here and brainwash children to transgender them, right? That's absolutely barbaric. We're in the 2026. So when you look at an institution, I think we need to pass legislation to say that institutions shouldn't be, even the collegiate institution shouldn't be allowed to even have conversations and topics about sexual education, right?
Right.
That
Just
should be something that your
remove it.
parent does.
Right.
Right.
Completely remove it.
That's something. Yeah, that's something that's your parent, right? Because whoever is teaching the sexual education, they have a biased standpoint, right? And now they're not being taught what they're supposed to be taught. They're being taught what somebody else wants them to be taught. And
Right. It's indoctrination.
that's dangerous.
Very.
Thank you. So your parents, like I was talking to the chairman of the Republican Party in Gwinnett County. I told him sexual education shouldn't be on welfare, right?
Come on.
Meaning government shouldn't have to be teaching. Government should not step in and deal with sexual education. Sexual education does not need government assistance. Sexual education needs parental assistance, right? And these things don't make sense to me. It doesn't, right? So any government, any monarch, any president throughout the globe should all more than likely agree and say there's certain things that we shouldn't even be sitting here discussing. It really should just be let your parent the kids and let them grow up and let them parent their kids, right? Because full transparency, like it says in the Bible, teach a child early and they will never steer from the path. Do you want government to teach your child and they never steer from the governmental path? It doesn't make any sense, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of these things, it don't make sense. And I don't even want to look at it. I don't even.
But see, we need people. Yeah, but we do need someone like you in Congress that can actually take a step outside, because you're talking from the standpoint of a human. It's not about being a Republican or a Democrat with some of these issues that we've discussed. It is actually about being a viable human being that wants to do right by other human beings. And with that said, I'm going to let you have last words because we're coming on a close for our segment. So let's hear from you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Dr. Nicole. Again, my name is Simeon Nunley, candidate for the 13th district. I'm on the Republican side. I believe in family first. I believe traditional values. I believe traditional family. I believe in the Bible stands. I believe in biblical contents. I believe that every man should have their wife and they should love their wife. I believe that the man should lead the house. I believe that the man should protect his wife and their kids. 300,000 women are missing in the nation. I don't believe that that's just a failure of government. I believe that that's also a failure in community. And I believe that if we get back together as a community and we start loving each other the appropriate way, then we can protect our women. We can protect our children from indoctrination when they come to these transgender ideologies. I believe that we can get everything back together, but it won't just start on fixing government. It start on fixing family core basics and principles. So I really believe that what we need to do is get back together and start healing, not only just government, but we have to heal the household, the everyday household as well. So if we can come together as a community, as house, as family, as the husband and the wife and the children, then we can start pushing together and get things back on track. Then we can move a country forward in prosperity, peace, and love. Government needs to come together, and we need to allow diplomats to be diplomats and allow them to negotiate in areas that we are not able to negotiate in the political ramification. So we can lower the prices on the commodities and lower the prices on goods, lower the prices on these gold that's coming into the country. to allow the citizens to enjoy that peace and prosperity and that love that they have in their household with their children's and move forward. So that's who I am as a person, as a citizen, because all members of government are citizens first, and legislation impact us, even though we write it, right? So as a citizen first, as a child of God first, we as a government need to do everything that we can to allow the citizens to live peace and in prosperity and in happiness and in holiness with their children. So Simeon Nunley, candidate for the 13th district, candidate for Congress. I'm from the state of Georgia. I'm from the city of Atlanta. I was raised on the east side of Atlanta, which is in a little city called Decatur. And I'm from here. I was in the Army, right? I did years in the military. I came back. I've been in politics for the last 10 years, like you said earlier. There's some people that want their 15 minutes of fame. I've been in politics for 10 years, 10 years this year, and y'all just not hearing from me.
Right.
It
takes a minute.
So,
takes a minute.
for quite some time. So I don't need the glamour and the glitz, the video cameras, and to stand in front of Fox News. I just need for the citizens to be happy. As long as the citizens happy, then I know I'm doing my job.
Absolutely.
And that's just who I am. So
Okay.
like in the Bible. Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Simeon. I know I was not able to connect with you last week, so thank you so much for hanging in there. And I'm looking forward to having you on again the closer we get to your election. So you're actually running for this cycle for 2026, correct? Or
yes, I'm on the 2026 ballot.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
now, quick question before we end. Primaries. Are you primarying anyone or okay. So there's no primary for your particular seat. Just
well,
checking.
I have a primary
I'm just checking.
with the Republicans.
Okay.
I do have a primary. But again, they don't have the experience that we bring to the table. We already have international relationships. Like I said, I've been here for 10 years. So
that means
we
your
have
vote's
relationships
gonna
to
happen in
lower
May.
commodities throughout the globe.
Right. So that means in May,
Yes.
there would be a primary.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just saying, because we have to have people get out to vote because people think, okay, well, I can just vote for him in November. Well, if you don't vote for him in May to get him on the ballot, he's not going to be there in November. So we have to have people get out to vote that are in Georgia in May. And I want to say that it's for May 17th or 19th?
19th.
May 19th. Okay.
May the
so
19th. If I'm not mistaken,
May
it's the 19th. Yes.
Right. And we do have early voting in Georgia. So definitely look out for early voting, but definitely check out Simeon Nunley. And I will be posting his social media so you can check him out, look more into him, and definitely ask him any questions that you may have further and beyond this interview. So again, Simeon, thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News. And we look forward to having you back on again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Nicole. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. So that's Simeon, you guys. And thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.